I'm not on the clock yet, am I? I am right now. It's on. All right, here we go. I'm Zach. So, stoking the millennial fire. I'm going to talk extremely fast. When you ask young people what they want here in Des Moines, they'll say three things. They want mountains, they want oceans, they want a professional sports team. Maybe the Cubs. But when you actually, since none of these three things are going to happen anytime soon, let's take a look at what we actually have right now. We are #1 in so many different categories, which Jay Byers will never let us forget, and that's wonderful. The problem is that young people, millennials in particular, don't care about rankings. They're not reading Forbes. They're not looking at all of these wonderful things that we have here. What they are looking at is what we don't have, and that's a vibrant local art scene. And what I mean by that is not that we don't have the artists here who are wonderful and presenting great work. We have thousands of them. The problem is nobody outside of Iowa knows who they are. And what I mean by this is when you look at different cities and you think of what young people think of these cities. When you think of Austin, you think of Willie Nelson, Spoon, and Oakville River. When young people think of Portland, they think of Everclear, the Decemberists, and the Dandy Warhols. When young people think of Seattle, they think of Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden. And when young people think of Des Moines, they think of Christopher the Conqueror, Poison Control Center, and Dead Yellow Canaries. How many of you knew who those bands are? Okay, that's pathetic. All of you need to know who these bands are. They're local bands. The third band is Jay's band, so pay close attention. The point is they don't know who these guys are outside of Iowa because we don't do a good enough job of promoting them. So, when we target youth, millennials choose cities based on culture, not jobs. People would rather take a lower paying job in Minneapolis versus a higher paying job in Des Moines, simply because it fits their quality of life. Young people are looking for if you have a vegan restaurant, if their favorite band is playing, and if they can move to a city and not have a car. Des Moines fails on all three counts. We love to promote that we have boomerangs coming back in their 30s, but the metric we should be looking at is 22-year-olds who graduate University of Chicago who have nothing to do with Des Moines say, I'm moving to Des Moines because Des Moines is cool. 30-year-olds that live on both coasts can't support themselves financially, especially if they have kids. They're looking inward. If you're creative and you live in a large city, you have no business being there because you are unable to pioneer. We should be taking out billboards and peppering both coasts, talking about our average commute times and the cost of living. But the biggest problem facing us with young people when they come to visit our town is perception. When they look at us at a 10,000-degree view, what do they see? Everybody knows this corner of 4th and Court outside Dos Rios. How much better would it look if it had one of these? A recycling receptacle out front, something really little. There are none of these in downtown Des Moines. Do we want a street in downtown that looks like this? Or do we want a street in downtown that looks like this in a complete streets program? Do we want a retail system that looks like this? Or do we want a retail system that looks like this? Do we want a river walk that looks like this? Or do we want a river walk with a world-class skate park? Do we want a bus stop that looks like this? Or do we want a BRT bus stop that looks like this? Do we want a bus from the 80s, or do we want a bus from now? We might as well go with the rag-by route and make it a party bus as we continue. The point is, do we want a workforce that looks like this, or do we want a workforce that looks like this? What I'm trying to say is that titles matter. Young professional, I'd never heard that term before I moved here. Professional is not a bad thing, but you're alienating 50% of the audience of young people who don't relate to that term. Young people don't want what they say they want on meat. They don't want labels. They don't want to say they're Republican or Democrat because immediately it has connotations that they don't believe in. Most young people believe a little bit of this and a little bit of that. In the last 5 years, Des Moines has done over 10 different studies focusing on all the things I've talked about and so much more. How much has that cost? North of $10 million on these studies. We are done studying, people. The time now is for action. We have the answers of how to answer these problems and so many other problems. Let's take action similar to how Angela and John are taking action on hunger. We need to do exactly what they are and take action now. We need action. Culture makes a city, and we need to learn from other cities like Austin, Portland, and Seattle. And more importantly, we need young people on city council. Just like last night's debate, I'm going over. I'm joking. Thank you so much, everybody.